It's June 1944, Normandy, and the 3rd Armoured Division landed at Omaha White Beach near Isigny in France. Riding on top of his Sherman is Texan tank commander Lafayette G. Poole. His crew have been training hard and have yet to see battle, but this aggressive young staff sergeant trusts a bunch of misfits he commands. He calls them his pups. The men have named him War Daddy. They have been sent to take on the Germans near the commune of Filets Pocket. His Sherman is called In the Mood. Ready for battle, the mood of Commander Poole and his crew are far from the easy tunes of Glenn Miller. At 6'3", it's cramped for the giant Texan inside the tank. That's why he likes the fresh air on his face, sticking up out of the Sherman turret like a cowboy on a beast of iron. They are in the 32nd Armour Regiment, 3rd Armoured Division, who are nicknamed the Third Herd. The fighting is tough, but he's riding in with some of the best. In his own words, he described his crew. My driver was PFC Wilbert Richards, 5'4" at full attention. We called him Baby. He could have parallel parked that big Sherman in downtown New York in rush hour traffic. Then Corporal Bert Schoolboy Close, just 17 years old, still with peach fuzz on his gentle face, co-driver and machine gunner to the stars. Dal Boggs, my loader, had been arrested on manslaughter charges. The court gave him the choice of prison or the military. What could we call him but Jailbird? Corporal Willis Oller was my gunner. I often bragged that he could shoot the eyebrows off a gnat at 1,500 yards with our 76mm gun. The imprint of tanker's goggles permanently stained his face. We never referred to him by any other name but Groundhog. The In the Mood found itself at the front of a Spearhead. We'd like to thank Richard Cutler, ex-Royal Tank Regiment and currently working for Wargaming, and the excellent podcast The Finest Half Hour in explaining the Spearhead.
The term armoured spearhead, as the name suggests, was given to the tanks that formed the front of the offensive, first into contact and first to receive enemy fire. In simple terms, a way to lay effective concentrated fire onto the objective and, in theory, quickly overwhelm the enemy. The assault was usually followed up by supporting infantry on foot, whom critically also covered the flanks. However, all this depended on the tactical situation and the terrain. Tanks in the Spearhead, on terrain that had lots of obstructions, were prime enemy targets. Tanks had limited situational awareness, and without the infantry were susceptible to things like anti-tank guns. It's a risky tactic if done incorrectly, with the potential of an enemy counterattack, particularly into the infantry-supported flanks, a constant threat. Only the bravest wanted to be at the forefront of the Spearhead, and Lafayette G. Poole and his men showed true courage in doing this repeatedly.
A German soldier under cover readies a Panzerfaust. Translated into English, tank fist. Like its name suggests, it's a devastating anti-tank weapon, and it's aimed directly at In the Mood. A crack of thunder and a puff of smoke. The shout goes up, incoming mail, and a colossal impact rocks the tank, leaving ears ringing and nerves jangling. It's enough to put the Sherman out of action. Poole and his men escape. They had a good, if short, run of 6 days between the 23rd of June and the 29th, but it's far from the end of their story. Shortly after, they're back inside another Sherman, the In the Mood 2. On August the 7th, Poole and his men roll into the Battle of the Filets Pocket, part of the legendary Operation Overlord. With German forces encircled by the Allies, Poole is in Fromental village, central France, pushing German troops out of the picture. He's right up to the front of the Spearhead, just as he likes it. Driving a wedge into the Germans, he gets on the radio and jokingly says, "Ain't got the heart to kill him." Those listening in hear the machine gun fire, followed by him shouting, "Watch the bastards run! Give it to him close!" In the midst of battle, Poole is at the front, mopping up the Germans when explosions rock the In the Mood, and it's clear he's being bombed. The tank is destroyed and the men scramble out. The most likely reason is this was due to a friendly fire incident involving a Lockheed P-38 Lightning. Poole famously had a short temper and boxed with a great right hook, so the flyboy responsible was wise to keep his head down. The crew, 2 tanks down but undefeated, take charge of yet another Sherman. You can probably guess what it was called, but it's not a case of third time lucky. Moving into Belgium, another Panther is about to cross paths with Commander Poole's rolling powerhouse. In the Mood 3 has just destroyed several enemy personnel carriers and returned to find a Panther attacking the column head. Groundhog let slip the dogs of war from the 76mm barrel, and they chalk up another Panther for the long list of victories. It seems like nothing can stop them while they're all working together as a team. Heading up a column, making for the Siegfried Line, this key defensive line has to be busted open, and if anyone's going to do it, it's no-nonsense Texas boy, Lafayette G. Poole and his men. Pushing towards the line, they come face to face with a Panther tank, which blasts them at close range, twice. In the Mood 3 dodges the attack, and Groundhog gets the enemy in his sights. He takes the shot. It's only one strike, but is it powerful enough to breach the armor? There's a huge explosion inside, and the turret flies off under the pressure. As they push forward, Jailbird needs to have his ears checked and is temporarily replaced by Private First Class Paul King. In Münsterbusch, a town to the far west of Germany, the Germans have tried to conceal a gun inside a house. Seasoned military man Paul is wise to the ambush and spots the danger. He orders his loader to prepare to fire. The stand-in, Private First Class Paul King, jams the gun. By all accounts, Paul's words that day are, "Back up, baby!" The next sound is a huge explosion. The Panther is struck. Paul is blown onto the ground where his right leg crumples. King has been killed. In an extraordinary display of wartime grit, Paul gives himself an anesthetic with morphine and begins removing his damaged leg with nothing more than a pocket knife. Unaware of this gruesome development, the rest of the crew try and get their bearings. The Panther tries again at the Sherman as it tries to reverse out of harm's way. At the edge of the ditch, In the Mood 3 turns over, bringing an end to Paul's short-lived but incredible career as a tank ace. Over the 81 days they rode those 3 Shermans, Paul and his crew took out more than 1,000 enemy soldiers. 12 tanks in total felt the wrath of the In the Mood, with 258 armoured vehicles adding to the tally of destruction. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, the Legion of Merit, the Silver Star, the Purple Heart, the Fourragère, and the Legion of Honor. Paul returned to Texas, got a prosthetic leg, and rejoined the army as an instructor before retiring in 1960. If you like this video, please comment and share. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon so we can make more videos like this. If you would like to find out more about Paul, we strongly recommend checking out the 3rd Armoured Division's site. Thanks again to Richard Cutland from Wargaming. You can hear more from Richard on the excellent podcasts Tank Nuts and The Finest Half Hour. All the links are in the description below.